Hello and welcome to Let Me Bore You to Sleep. Oh wow. My name is Jason Newland. Yes. Jason Newland. Okay. So, oh, blimey. I wasn't even yawning before I started this. Although I did have an early start today. I went to bed at 7 last night and got up at 3. So, yeah. I made a recording. I did my latest one in the old Break Free from Control and Manipulation. Today I did Guilt Used as Control. So, and it's the 1st of June 2026. Please only listen when you can safely close your eyes. So I have a website, jasonnewland.com. I've gotten rid of the jasonnewland.store. I've not got rid of the store, but I'm in the process of transferring the website to Shopify so that you can download all of my recordings. It's just taking a bit of time. It might be another day or so before it's sorted. Because there didn't really seem much point having both, especially financially. Because, you know, I didn't just have both. I did 2 domains that I'm paying for and 2 websites I'm paying for. So I thought, okay, I'll get rid of one website, get rid of one domain, keep the jasonnewland.com, which is what I've had for decades. And hopefully within a day or two it should all be fine and set up. I mean, I've had it before. I've used Shopify as my main website before. If you're not sure what that means, like what do you mean Shopify as your website, basically it just, with a domain name, like not everybody's going to know this, with a domain name it just points at a website. So you might use WordPress, or someone might use lots of different website builders, or they might build the website themselves using code, which I used to in the past. So yeah, and the jasonnewland.store domain name was about, well, in 2 days they're going to charge me 50 quid for another year, or 50 plus VAT, whatever that is. And I thought, I'm not going to, I want to keep Shopify because I've got thousands of recordings on there. But at the same time, I also want to keep jasonnewland.com. So that's what I'm doing. It might not work for a couple of days, and I'm in touch with Shopify trying to explain to them they've had problems with it, because I've been trying to swap it over for weeks and it keeps timing out and giving me another code to then put into my domain name DNS, which is basically the code which then transfers it, directs it towards the website. And I kept putting that new code in, and it was just timing out. So in the end, I contacted, completely different word, isn't it? Focused and contacted Shopify directly and just said, look, I need help with this. and they said it's all fine. It's definitely set up correctly from the domain perspective to aim at Shopify, and if there's a problem, they'll sort it out on their end. So it should be fine, hopefully tomorrow or the day after. And if it's not done by tomorrow, I will contact them, because they said leave it 48 hours and get back to us if it's not working properly, which is what I'll do. And I have been working on the store for years, actually, really. But especially the last few months, I mean, if I look at if I actually go, if I go to domains, okay, it said needs setup, so I'm just going to ignore that for now. If I go to the website itself, so it'll just come up as, I don't know what the Shopify name is. Let me have a look. I can tell you if I click on it, just in case you want to see it. View store. So even though I've deleted the store, it's still coming up as jasonnewland.store. Even though I've deleted it, I've actually deleted the domain from it, but it's still using that, which means I don't know what it means actually. It's a little bit weird because it's saying expiry. Alright, expiring soon, so 2 days it'll expire. That's very, very strange. I mean, this is primary. I don't want that as a primary. So you could also go to jasonnewland.myshopify.com, and there's Jason Newland hypnosis.myshopify.com there. I mean, you can still use a jasonnewland.store. That will expire in 2 days. It expires on the 3rd. Maybe that's what's stopping it connecting. I don't know. But I'm a little bit behind for the Let Me Bore You to Sleep recordings. I've got up to 1,615 compared to one, I think, what is it? The last one I did was 1,621. So it's only 6. So I'm a little bit behind. Just a little bit. But what I have done is, instead of letting people choose like lots of different, like having short, long, whatever, I've now got it so that you can literally click on a podcast, let's say 1,615, and you can download all 6 versions. So all 6 are on there. It's not available for all of the recordings going back, but so I'm still in the process of like updating all this stuff. So it's going to take a while. It's going to take a few months probably before it's all like properly up to date, but it's getting there. Eventually it's getting there. In fact, let me just check this, because it's going to, let me click on that to see products, collections, shorts. That's very weird. What's going on there? collections. Alright, okay. So, let me bore you to sleep. Where are you? Let me bore you to sleep. So I need to just get rid of the... Okay, right. Now, let me just see. The recent one... Well, that was let me bore you your pain away. That was the wrong one. All along, it was the wrong one. I don't even know my own podcasts. Let me bore you to sleep. Okay. So I've actually got... How many of them have I got? No, it's not telling me. You think it would do, wouldn't you? There are lots. A lot of them. Like thousands. Well, there's not 1,615 on there. There's probably about 10, 15 missing. Because I lost a couple along the way, but most of them are on there. So let me click on the latest one, see if all 6 versions will be downloaded. Yeah, okay, good. I think what I did in this case is I went backwards. So I started at the end and then went back. So I'll be honest, I don't know how far back I went, because I spent ages doing it and then I stopped. And I need to get back into it again. I just wasn't sure what I wanted to do with the store. I quite like the idea of having a store, but then jasonnewland.com is, I think for a lot of people, if they think of me, that what my website is, that's what it is, jasonnewland.com. And I've mentioned it so many times over the years that it feels a bit silly to change it, to get rid of it. Anyway, just to let you know that I do have a YouTube channel. I'm also on Instagram, X and TikTok, and every day I upload a recording to those as well, to TikTok, X and Instagram. I'm not able to upload the full recording if it's over an hour, because I only allow up to like 59 minutes. So if it's like a shorter recording, that's fine, but I don't, I rarely do a Let Me Bore You to Sleep that's less than an hour. So you can listen to the whole thing, or you can download the whole thing on my podcast, on my website, or you will be able to. And you can also listen to the whole thing on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, which is something or other. I don't know. It's called something. What's my YouTube channel? Anyone? YouTube. It's YouTube. Let Me Bore You to Sleep -- Jason Newland. So yeah, maybe that's the wrong name for it. Maybe it should be Sleep and Hypnosis or whatever. I don't know. I'll be honest, it's hard to really know what to put down, because I go through periods where I do lots of different things. Like sometimes, for quite a while I was only doing the Let Me Bore You to Sleep recordings. There was one point when I said, that's all I'm going to do. I ain't doing nothing else anymore, just to Let Me Bore You to Sleep. And then I seem to, like this is last year, seem to have got back into doing the hypnosis recordings, even enjoying it actually. So Not that I dislike doing anything I do. I don't do anything I don't want to do, apart from maybe the editing. Not if there's a lot of background sound, then the editing can be a bit of a but I've got the window closed and I've got the curtains drawn over. On a really hot day like this, I've got the windows closed. Blimey. But that side of things, it's time consuming. And because the internet's a little bit slow, it doesn't always kind of come off properly. I could get a lot more done if the internet was fast. But then the problem with YouTube, I don't want to moan about YouTube, because if it weren't for YouTube, I'm not saying I wouldn't have listeners, but YouTube is kind of my main place where I started. I mean, I started on MySpace, but YouTube, that's where I grew, especially in the early days, sort of between 2007 and 2013. So for about 6 years, my main focus, I was still doing podcasts as well, but a lot of the time it was just taking the audio from the video and posting it on as a podcast. So I was doing both at the same time, but my focus was YouTube. And yeah, so I've got a lot to be thankful for YouTube. I've still got people listening to me now that were listening to me 20 years ago. And you might think that's just a blatant lie. And it might be. It might be a lie. Although I have someone listening to me. They said to me recently that they've been watching me or listening to me for a long, long time. In fact, let me have a look at this. Should we just look at comments? View posts. No, comments. Published. Most relevant, newest. It should give me an opportunity to have a look, and I want to find it because I want to read it to you. I got a lot of stuff from I can't even read. It's basically Sebastian. He gives himself these names that I can't read out. Right. That's a weird. I can't believe how many he sends me. He does write a few messages. Basically, what he's out to do is try to sabotage what I do. So, I mean, maybe I might even be popular if it wasn't for him trying to kind of, I don't know. Someone did say that to me once. They said, you got to get rid of him. You got to get him off your channel because he's just sabotaging you. And I like to think he's not doing it for that purpose, but I don't know. Because everything he writes is rude. I do find some of it funny, to be honest. What's this? MKA70. How on earth do you manage to record all this? Okay. Why on earth do you record all this? Love them videos, really helps. Thank you. Oh, blimey. I'm trying to find it. It keeps taking me back to the first page. Jason, I just found your app on Spotify now. I was going off to sleep and I was so interested in hearing your life, I stayed awake. Oh, thank you. Right. Sebastian. Okay. I keep going back again. I can't find it. It's literally, it's not allowing me to scroll up or to scroll down. Yeah, scrolling down, because there's so many messages. It's not that I get lots of messages, just, you know, over time does it add up, especially with Sebastian. I mean, I had a really nice message there. Here is one. This is good. Jen -QX9KL. Hey Jason, I happened across your videos here on YouTube a few weeks ago. You're helping me through what is really a bleak period of my life right now. I'm bipolar and in a deep depression. Much love and thank you. So I did thank you. That was a month ago, so that was a nice message. Hope that Jen is feeling better. Okay, this is Sebastian Gay. Sebastian again, sorry. Freudian slip there, sorry. Sebastian again. It's got different names sometimes. Yay, here is it. Look. Yaya Hound 1912. The best Beddy Bye podcast, hands down. That's for the Let Me Bore You to Sleep. Jason has been my bed buddy for a long time now. Such a kind, soothing voice. Hugs across from the pond. Love to Vinny. Oh, thank you. I should read that a little bit like, such a kind and soothing voice. Da-da-da-da. Thanks, thank you. Right, someone's written American Ninja, so I don't know. You have a talent for this, Mr. Newland. Appreciate your videos. Peace and good snooze from Australia. That's from Rachel. Right, okay. Just the odd person says great voice, and that's Laura M1875. Thank you. Miss Rachel 1709. Your voice is amazing and not confusing at all. 1 minute in and already saved this to my sleep playlist. Peace and thanks from Australia. That was for extreme deep and confusing sleep. I think that's the most successful recording I've got on YouTube, actually, for some reason. I don't know what. Right. No, I can't find it. I don't know what's bugged me now. That's Sebastian the Gay. I was about to go. That's funny, actually. I was about to create a recording with the same title. Hypnotist in training, noisy neighbours. So that's Nicholas Ritter. So do you make recordings as well? I tell you, that's having noisy. Okay, this is Mike's Monday Boring Objects today. I'm going to talk to you about making audio recordings. Yeah, it's weird. I've never talked. Like, I know I do talk about it probably, but I'm going to talk about the history of me making audio recordings. Okay? Okay. Right. I just want to find if this is here. Christine, this is 3 months ago. For permission to pause. This is my favourite one to date, most relaxing one ever. This is the one I will listen to most. I usually like the music, but this one was pure sleep mode. Thank you. Oh, thank you for listening. Thank you for your kind words. Let me have a look. Okay, I can't find it. Someone did definitely leave me a message. Nope, can't find it. Oh well, I gave it a good go, didn't I? I mean, it might have been a year or two ago. I mean, time does seem to fly by sometimes. Someone, Picky Jacob _1 says, Jason the boring guy. Thank you. It's a bit rude. I'm not boring. How? I don't even. Oh wait a minute. I do. Okay, fair enough. Beck630. Could you make another hypnosis for extreme nail biting? That was left on the hypnosis for stop nail biting in 2017, and I said I shall take a look into it, and I think I did do one. I'm pretty sure I did. Right, okay. Again, more from Sebastian. Axel Rodriguez 4327. This is for the ASMR counting down to sleep. Whisper hypnosis number 527. You freaking nailed it on this one. This is the formula. Thank you, Jason. Thank you. That was 5 months ago. Tina.Lucille 6 months ago said, it's so weird that you have low individual view numbers on your videos, but a decent amount of subs and a high overall viewing count. Have you checked your analytics? Anywho, thanks for boring me to sleep. Well, actually, let me tell you what I saw. Right. Wow. Jeremy Frost, Y8U is written there. This is on the Let Me Bore You to Sleep 1483, 6 months ago. People don't realise Jason isn't intentionally talking slowly here. he actually needs to speed up his voice times 8 to achieve this result. God bless you in your struggle. The same person says, great upload, no one can bore a person quite like you. And that was for my Thursday throwbacks. I feel that those Thursday throwbacks kind of came to a bit of an abrupt end. And something must have happened to interrupt the flow, I think. Look on, I found it. I found it. At BILLG95. This was 8 months ago, and a message left on Let Me Bore You to Sleep 1430. Oh man, it's crazy. I've just turned 30 and I feel like I've been watching you all my life. I remember the very early days. Shame the hypnosis is going, but good to see you're planning for another 10 years. Take it easy, Jason. All the best. So this is must... yeah, this must have been when I was talking about stopping doing hypnosis. Anyway, let me show you this. This is something that I saw yesterday on YouTube. I'm a bit of an anomaly, I don't know, one of them. So if I look at analytics, right, okay, and how many views reach my content? Well, basically what it said yesterday is YouTube has frequently recommended my videos alongside other content since my stuff focuses on sleep and relaxation. But what they said is very weird, is that although I'm not getting like huge amounts, I mean the last 28 days I've had 3,000 views. I'm not getting huge amounts, but people are staying. So when people do visit, they stay. For like up to an hour. So you know, the viewers I am getting are, I say viewers, like they listen, because obviously there are videos you can watch, but it's mainly just audio. I suppose one of the problems with my YouTube channel is I do different things, and that's because, you know, ultimately I focus on sleep, relaxation, you know, with the Let Me Bore You to Sleep and stuff, but I'm also in the process of creating that new channel, or the new, not new channel, but the new podcast, Breaking Free from Control and Manipulation. So it's a continuous, I guess maybe that being on YouTube might, I don't know, it might put some people off the podcast or the YouTube channel, thinking, what's that got to do with sleep? So yeah, I don't know. It's one of them, you know what I mean? No, what's one of them? One of them. You know what one of them is. Not one of these, but one of them. If it was one of these, that'd be easy. One of them. It's more profound. What are you talking about? Exactly, no one knows. No one knows. I still get people listening to my Espanol, his hypnosis para dormir profundamente. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm not getting. I get 3,000 views generally a month, which isn't much. Watch time in hours, 1.3 thousand hours. 16 plus subscribers. Estimated revenue 1 cent. Sorry. Oh, that's funny. Wow, 1 cent. But, however, I'm not monetized. I don't have any adverts with money. Adverts on my YouTube channel. No. I'm just going to figure out quickly how much 1.3 thousand hours is. 1,300 divided by 24. Okay, so it's 54.1 days. So pretty much every second of every day someone's listening to my YouTube channel. They're on there. 1.3 thousand hours. So I would say probably my hours is pretty good. Bearing in mind the views, 3,000. I don't know. I think the way I see it is now I need to just stop making changes, keep everything as it is. The YouTube channel is... it does its own thing. I make a recording, it uploads from the podcast host to YouTube automatically. It's been doing that for a long time. But in the past I have tendencies of deleting things from YouTube, trying to clean it up and tidy it up. I mean, what I did yesterday was... what did I do? I thought, because I did that little survey thing on YouTube, and it told me that I might get more listens or more views if I actually had playlists, which is what I used to have. So what I've done is I've added an extra playlist, which is the breaking free from control and manipulation. I did that yesterday. There is 72 videos. In fact, there's another 4 that I need to add. I'll do that right now, actually. Can make a bit more noise, please, Finny. Thanks. So, recent videos, show all. So what I'll do, I'll add the 6 that have just started uploaded today, and then add them to the playlist. Deep. People pleasing. I'm not sure if I've got that. That's going to bug me now. I need to find out if I've got people pleasing on there. So if I go to playlists, click on that. it's much easier if you could see what I was doing, but at the same time it wouldn't be any more interesting. I clicked on videos. Why are you not coming up? Brilliant. Right, nothing's showing. It's like there's no videos at all. Yeah, there was 74 a minute ago. How does that work? Anyone? No, 72. There are 72 videos. It's not saying anything. Right, I'll do that another time. I can't be bothered. So, I've had a lot of adventures with the audios over the years. It's been a bit silly at times. So, the first time I made a hypnosis audio recording was about 2003. So it's 3 years before I started doing it, like, and uploading them. So I made some recordings for myself to help me with my panic attacks that was going on. So I made some recordings and used to listen to them. I've no idea even how I recorded them. I must have used some kind of dictation machine. I don't know. Dictaphone? No, not dictaphone. Well, they're called dictaphones, weren't they? Anyway, yeah, it was a little one, I'm pretty sure. And then in 2006, that was a weird noise Vinny's making. I got him one of those big treats that he likes. Because I had a little delivery, so I try and get him a treat every time I get a delivery. And he's been happy, but it's like he's determined to. I think he tries to shove it all in his mouth. He's very greedy. 2006. See, I did the audio recordings 2 different ways. So I did do videos and then extracted the audio from the video. But I did also make audios with the laptop. So I did all that with a laptop with a webcam in 2006. And for those that don't know what a webcam is, because not everybody's going to know. I mean, webcams haven't really been a thing for a long time. So webcams, basically, you used to plug them into your laptop and rest them on top of the laptop, and it'd film you, like a baby, basically. Because I was going to say, in the past, laptops, cameras were a bit rubbish. I think they're still rubbish. I've got a good laptop here, and the camera is rubbish. And the iPad camera is a lot better, and the phone camera is way better than all of them. But the laptop camera is absolutely ridiculous rubbish. It does the basic job. So yeah, but it's no good. I mean, I can talk to someone on the microphone's not very good, the internal, but it's good enough to kind of do a Skype or Facebook, audio chat. So I used the camera to record myself, And then I got a microphone that plugged into the laptop, and I used that for podcasts. I got a dictator machine, recording machine, which I used to take with me before I started doing the hypnosis sessions at the alcohol charity, and recording the group relaxation sessions. I would record the stuff either at home, or I would go to the park and try and find a quiet place under a tree or something. It wasn't ideal because, first of all, I lived on a main road, and it was very, very busy, lorries and stuff, and you know, I was working at the time, so I couldn't just stay up all night and do it. And there would be no point getting up early in the morning because the lorries would be literally travelling early. So what I did is I just did my best. You know, I did it. There was background sound, and I would just say, look, there might be background sound, and there's nothing I can do about it. But then the audio wasn't very good anyway. The video wasn't very good. So, yeah, I mean, for years, really, even though I had a good following on YouTube and with the podcasts, the video quality and the audio quality was not very good for a long time. And I used to get like a little bit frustrated with the background sounds. And there's a really funny, there's a show called 6 Blocks High or something, and it was Sean Locke. It was like a comedy he did a long time ago. And what they would do is they would show glimpses of other people's lives in that block of flats. So it'd go to different people and that, and one of the people, I think one had a pony, but one of the people was somebody sitting there making a relaxation recording, be talking like, now you can notice your ankles are relaxed, or whatever. And then there'd be loud music starting upstairs or whatever, and he'd lose it and start shouting and punching the wall and chucking stuff around. And I found it especially hilarious, because knowing what it's like to have been doing that all these years, trying to just find somewhere quiet, I've never managed it yet, really. I mean, there's this here, apart from the dogs barking and people are screaming in the garden, or if someone knocks on a door and Vinny just goes absolutely nutty, which is kind of his job, isn't it, I suppose? If someone knocks on the door, he's supposed to bark, isn't he? Because it's his home. But it can be quiet at times, like at night, late at night, early in the morning. It can be fairly quiet. So I try and make use of that. But back then, there was not really any quiet periods, much. And then I moved from that place, so 2006, 2007, all the way up, and I started doing, I started recording the group relaxation sessions with a tape recorder. And That's weird. How did I transfer the audio? Oh, I know. It was a digital recorder. It didn't have a tape. It was digital, and I plugged it into the laptop, and then it transferred the digital file, the MP3 file, onto the laptop, and then I would edit it in Audacity, which is a free editing software. Sometimes I do no editing. Sometimes I literally just would upload it to my website or to the podcast, or at that time to MySpace. And the beginning of it would be me chatting and fiddling around, and you could hear all the background sound. And now I don't think I'm ever going to be professional. I'm never going to come across as professional all the time, because I don't necessarily want to. Although I do take some of the stuff I do take seriously because of maybe the subject matter and that. But yeah, I'm not. This is just me. It's never going to be like studio quality, like recording studio quality. Although I did go to the studio and do some recordings at a recording studio once, and I made 3 CDs, but I'll talk about that later. It's true. That was expensive. I think I sold 2 CDs. It wasn't my most successful thing ever. Then I ended up just putting them onto my website and podcasts. So 2006, I went from doing the relaxation sessions, the group sessions in the alcohol charity, and then I was headhunted. And I'm going to use that word because it is kind of the correct terminology. I think one of the, either the therapists were talking about me to each other because they probably knew each other, because they were quite close connected, in the sense of one was a drug rehab and one was an alcohol and gambling charity. So they had close ties, and it was a small town as well. Or it might have been a client sort of said to the rehab place, so why can't you ask that weird man to come in and talk to us or talk at us for an hour like he does at the alcohol place? And yeah, so they were looking for me. And they found me. They went into the evolution shop. So I must have told someone along the line that I was kind of involved in the Buddhist centre. And they came into the evolution shop downstairs from the Buddhist centre and asked if they could get in contact with me. So I think his name was Ray. Was it Ray? So he left his number with my friend Nick. Well, he's not Nick anymore. He was ordained, but he's and he said to me, "Yeah, you had someone come in headhunting you." I said, "Okay." So I went in there. Well, I called them up and I said, "Can you come in whatever afternoon?" Because I think at this point, or was it one evening? I don't know. I mean, that might not have started till 2007. No, it would have been the end of 2006, because I went part-time from August onwards in 2006. So, yeah, that's it. So I had my afternoons free, so I'd work from 9 or 8 till 1 or 2. So I went along in the afternoon, and I sat there, and there was like 3 people interviewing me, and I was like, and they were asking me questions, and I said, look, the best thing to do, like, first of all, you know what I do. You've already had good feedback from, the other place. Instead of just sitting there asking me questions, why don't we just do it? And that's what I did with the first one, because I was volunteering my time, and I didn't really want to go through some big interview to volunteering my time for free. Like, let's just do it, and you can see for yourselves whether or not it feels useful. So they did. Not only that, they brought a few people in, and there and then we just did a relaxation session. If anything, that was my biggest audience, my biggest group, because all the staff wanted to be there as well, especially on a Friday, because it was the end of the day, and they'd all come in and listen to me, and they look forward to it. Well, I don't know, I made that bit up, but I think someone told me they looked forward to it. I might just be changing history. Okay, I never did any group relaxation sessions. I made it all up. No, I did. I wish I still was. Like, I kind of... Do I? Yeah, I do. I wish I was still doing it. That was one of the few things in my life that I've done that I really felt good about. I mean, out of all the things I've done in my life, I suppose the chronic pain relief service, going to people's houses and then having an office and that. So I did that in 2006. I felt good about that because I was helping people there. And then doing the relaxation groups at the alcohol charity and the drug rehab place through 2006, all the way through until the end of 2007. Those were, that was the 3 things that I probably feel best about, other than the online things that I've done. Although, thinking about it, I do feel quite good about some of the work I did when I was a counsellor. I did feel that I helped some people. Probably, well, not everybody, but some. And when I did the pre-pain relief service, and that was just hypnosis and a bit of NLP and stuff, every single person said that they felt better afterwards. I don't mean better as in healed. I mean the pain level had gone down. Like 100% success rate with that. And I did get some follow-up. Specifically, the gentleman with what's it called? Leg. Yeah, but he had his leg amputated and he had phantom limb pain, which is a horrible term actually. But he came to me and he'd had it for 7 years. Like really, like disabled properly. Not just disabled because he had one leg, but pain-wise. He was in a bad way, like emotionally. And we did one session and he couldn't believe how he felt, how different he felt. I remember him like looking at me saying, I thought this was supposed to help me. I feel worse now. No, he didn't say that. He said, I can't remember what he said, but thank you, I think it was in there. And I said, well, come back next week, see how you're getting on. He came back next week and he said, And he said, well, we'll do a relaxation session. But, he said, well, okay. He came back the following week. He said, I don't need to come back anymore. It's fine. After the first session, it was gone, done. The second session, it was nice to, have the relaxation, but he didn't need it anymore. He didn't need to. The reason he came was sorted. And 3 weeks later, after, the third week, he didn't even stay. He said, mind you, that I did do a massive fart before he came in the room, so that might have helped or not helped, however way you look at it. And he left, and then he sent me a letter months and months and months later telling me that he was still out of pain. So in some ways, that's the thing, because I only did that stuff for about a year, I haven't got huge amounts of stories to tell. But I had some success that I didn't expect. I was surprised. And I was also surprised when I had the lady that needed double lung transplants, and she really didn't like me. I mean, she was a friend of a friend, and I went round her house. She couldn't pretty much leave the house. She was sitting down on oxygen, and so I was in her house. She didn't like me. She took a dislike to me almost instantly. And I hadn't farted, and I was wearing trousers. So it's not the usual situation. And I'm like, okay. Now, it's not that I'm used to everyone liking me. Of course, I've occasionally had people that seem to not like me, but I'm kind of more used to indifference, I don't mind indifference. In fact, indifference is almost normal. If you've not met someone before, you don't know them, why would you have an opinion about them if you've never met them and know nothing about them? So, but this lady, she didn't like me. And she made it very clear quite a few times by saying, this is pointless, this is a waste of time. So what her issue was, I wasn't there, obviously I couldn't do anything about her physical condition. She was on a waiting list for transplants, and she was told that she had an appointment on a Tuesday. This is the Saturday afternoon. She had an appointment on a Tuesday to go and have tests to make sure she was able to withstand the operation, basically. She had to have those tests in order to stay on the transplant list, because she'd already had, I think, 2 appointments previously, and this was like staying over in hospital for like 2 days or something like that, and both times she couldn't enter into the hospital. She had a massive phobia of hospitals, and even more so of having those tests and stuff. At the end of it, she was laughing, and I didn't know that I had it in me. It was almost that the salesperson in me kicked in, where I was not letting go, which it can be a good thing if you're a salesperson, and if you're a sales team leader and you're a company. It might not be such a good thing if you're the person on the other end of the phone, or whatever, being sold to. But on the same side, I didn't ever sell anything that wasn't needed. They called me up. I did do cold calling before, but more recently. But at that time, it was insurance, and that kind of. I remember, I think my manager used to say, I'm like a dog with a bone. I literally won't let it go. And I'm a little bit like that when it comes to, if it's something that's important to me, it's like I've started and I'm going to, I don't know, I'm going to continue this till it's done. And I can push myself. And that's what I did with her. I pushed myself. I didn't push her. I prodded a little bit, I suppose, pushed her out of her comfort zone. But I tell you what, I was more out of my comfort zone than she was out of hers, I bet you. Because she was at home. You know, she was kind of pretty much in control of everything. And I had to work my way around to figure my way in to affect those changes. And after, I think, 2.5 to 3 hours, which is a long time, it's a long time to be sitting, talking, doing therapy. I think it was over 2.5 hours, I remember that. And I don't use the word attacked, but I attacked her from all angles. Attacked the phobia or the problems that she was facing that were getting in the way of her potentially, having the treatment that she had to have. It really was a life or death situation, literally. And the doctor said if you didn't turn up, if you didn't come through the doors this time, she'd be taken off the list. And that'll be it. They weren't going to deal with her anymore. Because there's too many other people that wanted to be on that list that, there's never a shortage of people waiting for medical treatment, unfortunately. So, anyway, we did it all. And I wish I'd recorded it. I really do. In fact, I don't know why I didn't. I think maybe I didn't record. What I did sometimes, if I did like the group sessions, I'd record. But there was something about the one-on-one sessions that I didn't feel comfortable recording. It was different when I was a trainee counsellor. And I had to record every session because that was part of the training. And anyone coming for counselling were aware of that, because it was a free service offered by the college. So it felt weird to start with, to be honest, but that was like 2008. Anyway, so I leave thinking, well, it seemed to go okay at the end because she was laughing, like really dropped her guard a lot. She put her shield down, wasn't waving a sword around anymore. Honestly, it's no longer shooting at me with a machine gun. And no longer chucking sharks at me. And we left on good terms, and she promised me that, she'd let me know how she got on. Now, she didn't let me know, but her sister did. And her sister called me up and to let me know that she'd gone in to the hospital, gone through everything, and was fine, and would be coming home tomorrow. But absolutely, and everything's been fine. So at the end of the week, I spoke to her, the lady herself, and she said that she couldn't believe it. She actually had the time of her life. Probably not as good as Disney World, but maybe time of her life isn't the right. Probably wasn't the time of her life, thinking about it. But she said she had a laugh. She was laughing with the nurses and with the other patients, and just basically just had a laugh, which is probably what her personality was, you know. She I don't know, that's what she said. She was laughing a lot while she was there. And unless she took a secret photograph of me and was just kept looking at it and showing everyone. See this bloke, he thought he hypnotised me. Yeah. Look at him. Yeah. Look at what he's wearing. You don't know, dude. That's how she laughed. Like a little mouse trying to play the trumpet. So she also sent me a letter a few weeks later with feedback. I've still got them. I've still got these letters. They mean a lot to me, actually, because I had a few of them, and it was all really serious conditions. There was nothing light there. It was all serious stuff. There was 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know. One wasn't serious, like medically, but it was serious for their career. So, yeah, anyway, so I didn't record those recordings, those sessions. Kind of wish I had now, just so I could just listen to them, hear what kind of rubbish I was coming out with. I mean, if I could achieve, or with them, achieve change, because obviously it's not just me doing it, is it? It's with my help they could achieve change, but change that was really, really necessary, then I must have been doing something correct. But I don't know what. Really don't. So then I moved to, because I started university, and I moved to the town where I was at college doing my degree in counselling. And I lived in this house where it was basically, it was a cottage. I was going to say bungalow. It was a cottage. And it wasn't super loud. I mean, there was times when it was fairly quiet, so I could make a recording. So I lived there for over 3 years. Occasionally, when they was on holiday, I would do recordings in the kitchen, because I'd spread my stuff out a little bit, or I'd do it in the dining room. That's because once I spent 11 days, 10, 14, about 10 days making a stop hypnosis course, aiming at making it the best sounding course I'd done, like quality wise, audio. And honestly, I put more work into that than I have done anything else since. It was very time consuming, but I was also at the same time watching Prison Break. So I had the Prison Break box set, so I was watching them as I was doing it. Not at the same time, but taking a break and watching the Prison Break episodes. So that was a good 10 days. The landlord and landlady went away for 2 weeks, I think. And it was so nice to just not have them around, just have a little bit of a break from other people, you know. Because the daughter, who was in her 20s, I mean, I was in my 30s, late 30s by then, she was in her kind of middle 20s. And every time she walked into the kitchen, I'd make her jump. Yeah? And like, she'd shout, put the symbols down. No, I wouldn't. But she just like she forgot I lived there. Now, they'd been letting students live in their house since she was probably born, because they had 2 rooms in the back, and I think it was an extension they built, so 2 rooms and a bathroom, and they would let those rooms out, which gave them a bit of money, I guess. I was paying 60 quid a week, I think. 60 quid, something like that. And I had the smallest room. I couldn't believe it. It was like standard treating the man the worst. Honestly, I was in this tiny little room. I had too many books that couldn't even fit in the room. They were all stacked up in these plastic storage things. And then one day a female moves into the other room, so she invites me into a room, and it's like twice the size of my room. It's got a double bed, wardrobe, like all the stuff. It's like, why am I in a crappy little room when the other room wasn't even available? It wasn't used. Why didn't she put me in a nice room? So honestly, in this tiny little room, there was a little bit of space to get dressed. It was really rubbish. Yet the other room, big double bed. There was diamonds on the ceiling. I don't know, there wasn't chandelier. Around sound, music, violinists. There was actually an orchestra in one corner that just used to play 24 hours a day. What did I get? I got nothing. Some of that's probably lies, but my room was tiny compared to that. And I thought, it's just the way she was because I was a bloke. She probably thought, no, you don't need a double bed. Which is ironic, because I really did need a double bed because I'm so fat. So, yeah. At the time, I was just grateful to have anywhere. I needed to find somewhere, and that's why I ended up. But it just seems silly, because I spent nearly the whole time I was there, it was only me living there. The other room was taken up three times. 1, 2, 3, 4 times. And the final time, when I was evicted, there was a female student living there. Always females, no men ever moved into that room. And probably not a year, but the following summer after I moved in November, a female from the pub moved in, and then she moved out, so I'm not quite sure what happened there. And then another student moved in, I think the following year, and then she moved out. And then another student, this one, I think she was a refugee, and I think she was a student, but she was like learning English. This was a sad situation, because I didn't have a lot to do with her, which is kind of how I always was. I didn't used to have a lot to do with anyone. I was busy, just doing my course, going out, I wasn't really focused on other people. And I kind of think she reached out to me a couple of times. I didn't really take it as a hint. And then one Saturday, she knocked on my door. It might have been a Friday. It was daytime. Knocked on my door. I said hi. she was tiny. I mean, she was less than 5 foot. Really, really tiny. And she said, she squeaked, "I'm going home." I'm not going to do an accent. She basically said she was going to London, moving to London. And I said, "Oh, okay. Why? What's going on? What?" She said, "I'm lonely. I don't know anyone. Got no friends." And she gave me a hug, and I felt bad. I did afterwards, as she was sort of driving away in the truck. I felt bad for, I don't know, stealing a purse. Was it wrong? Should I feel bad for that? No, I didn't realise that she needed a friend, because if I'd known that, I wasn't unfriendly, I was just not particularly friendly. And I did moan about her to my landlord, because she kept having showers at 1 in the morning, and I had to get up for work, or I had to get up for college, and it was one of those showers that made a lot of noise, and it was right next to my room. It was in between both rooms, and I moaned. Now, in reality, I should have just spoke to her. I'm still learning. I was still learning then, I'm still learning now, and I'm still making mistakes. But I liked her. She was nice. She was very sweet, and I remember she was out in the front garden making a snowman, and she'd never seen snow before, outside of television. Never seen snow, because she was from one of the African countries. I don't know where exactly. But she'd never seen snow, and it was just so cute to see her building a snowman. I mean, the snowman was like twice her size. I don't know, she must have been very strong. I mean, seriously. She was tiny. I remember, this is going to sound wrong, because I was looking at her clothes that were on the radiator. This is going to sound wrong. I don't mean this in a pervy way. Okay? Right? But I couldn't fit into them. No, I don't mean this in a weird way. I saw these jeans, and I thought, they're like for a 10-year-old. They're like these little. I said, who is these shrunk in the wash? What's going on? And I remember holding them up, and honestly, they're like for a kid. Kids' clothing. And it was hers. She was the size of a child. Not in every aspect, but she was definitely a woman. You could see she was a woman, but she's just size-wise, she probably didn't weigh more than about 6 stone, if that. But she could never weigh more than that. She didn't have... I don't know if it's hard to explain. It's very strange. I just wish I'd been a bit friendlier. So I wasn't horrible. I'm not. I wasn't rude. I'm not normally like that. I try and get on with people, but I never used to really get involved. You know what I mean? I didn't get involved. And when I moaned about the shower, she stopped talking to me for a bit. So yeah, I think she moaned. I think she might have moaned at me, but I'm not sure what she was saying. But ultimately, she was nice, and I kind of just... Part of me wanted to say, "Can't just stay. I'll look after you. I'll make sure you're safe, and introduce her to some friends I've got, and show her around the town." Because at this point, I knew my way around. But I didn't. I just sort of let her go. Just not let her go. She was going anyway. But I don't quite know what the situation was with her, because she didn't tell me. But I didn't ask. But I know she had family in the desert somewhere. Is it a desert or something? Vinny, do you have to make so much noise? Okay, that's a yes. Fair enough. I think every time I move, I try and learn from the previous place I've lived. And I'm not sure how much I have, because I just seem to still get it wrong. But the intention, I think now, the intention is a positive one, generally. I just don't always get it right. So, yeah, she left, and then another student moved in the next year, and she was a musician, and I remember chatting to her a couple of times, but again, I didn't have much to do with her as I did with any of the others, really. Just, I mean, unless someone invites me into their room, or, you know, then I'll talk to them. But I'm not going to knock on anyone's door and sort of try and invite myself in, because it's not really appropriate, is it, really, to be fair? Generally. It's different, I think, if it's a flat. Knocking on a neighbour's door, hello, I'm Juicy JJ, I'm a superstar, I moved in next door, hi, have you got any tea bags? And, you know, it could be like that kind of thing. But I think if you're living in a house, shared house, which I've done way too many times, unfortunately, I think the getting to know people that's living in the house is just an organic thing. Maybe it can be organic if you're living in a block of flats as well. But yeah, I don't think I ever really kind of went out of my way to introduce myself to anyone I lived with, generally. But you get to know them anyway. You get to see them, because waiting for the toilet or being in the kitchen, and, you know, them turning the heat down on the oven and they put something else in the oven, and my food not being anywhere near cooked, even though it's been in there for 50 minutes. I'm not complaining, I should let it go. It was 27 years ago, but was it 37? Wow. So I made the audio recordings there. It was pretty quiet at night. Yeah, it's pretty quiet at night. Although they used to have, my landlady, she used to have the tumble dryer going in the middle of the night, because it was cheaper to run it. I'm not going to say anything bad, I think consideration wasn't her best attribute at times. She kind of just did her own thing, and like her daughter would moan about it to me. I didn't get any sleep last night. And that's obviously after she jumped, because I was in the kitchen, I made her jump. Even though I remember saying to her, I've lived here for 3 years now, why are you still jumping? And but she's moaned about her mum putting a tumble dryer on at 2 a.m. Bless them. So then I got kicked out of there. The next place I lived, so this was a place, it was a new build, well, fairly new build, and it was on a hill, not on the top of a hill, but like halfway up a hill. It's very weird, a weird place to build on a hill. It's very strange kind of, yeah. I mean, if you had skates on, you wouldn't be able to walk in and out of your house with skates on, because you just be moving downhill really fast, really quick. Now, admittedly, not everyone walks around wearing skates, but that's not the point. I'm just as an example. So I lived there. I was at the top of the house, which I thought would be quite a good place to have a bit of peace and quiet. And when I first moved there, it was quiet apart from one person that was living opposite. They were in a pretty much just a ensuite place like mine was. It's a fairly big room, ensuite. They were opposite on the hallway, and they were playing he was playing really loud music. Now, see, I know this just from experience, and I've experienced it so many times, because a lot of people say, well, why don't you just go up and ask him to turn the music down? Just be really friendly about it. It's like, yeah. And that person might actually be really friendly to you, so I'm sorry. I didn't realise. Sorry, if I've disrupted you or whatever. But as soon as you've gone, they're going to be annoyed, if they're not already annoyed. And that's what happened there. As soon as I'd gone, I heard him shouting. As he was in the garden, on the phone to someone. Someone told me to turn my music down. And then he started turning his music up really loud. Now, part of the reason I asked him to turn it down is because the lady downstairs, who showed me the room and she kind of helped me move in, or was friendly to me, she was sitting there and the whole ceiling was shaking. Her room was shaking from the sound. And she just sat there, and she had a very good talent of getting other people to do her dirty work for her. So if she wanted someone to complain, she would let them know about it and then be suffering. Just like, but it's just I have to put up with it. I can't do anything about it. And because she was older, I don't know, age isn't really a thing, but I wanted to help, so I knocked on the door, and yeah, the music went up again, even louder. So that was an interesting thing, but then he moved out, so it's fine. There wasn't a huge amount of noise there, so I did do a lot of videos. There was too much noise for me to, yeah, what I did, this is something I did in 2011. I started there was this room, it's like a cabin kind of thing behind a Buddhist centre, and I used to go in there at night. I got permission, had keys, went in there at night, and I used to make videos or make audio recordings like 11 o'clock or whatever. And because it was quiet, nothing going on, the pub behind was closed apart from weekends, and I'd make videos, and those videos became quite successful. I got a lot of views, so I was pleased with the recordings I was getting done there. I was still making videos and audios in the room. At one point I used to make a video nearly every day in the bathroom, just talking for 10 minutes about something, kind of like a motivational thing or a relaxation session, and I'd be in my clothes and it'd be echoey and not ideal. And then I moved out of there after a year, got out as soon as I could, and couldn't afford to live there, basically. £125 a week. I found somewhere for £65 a week, which was my little dungeon I lived in, and that was damp and mouldy, but it was £65. I didn't know it was damp and mouldy when I moved in, but once I moved in I was kind of stuck. And I made recordings there. It was quiet at night, noisy during the day because it was opposite a school, and also there was noises upstairs. I remember one of the neighbours, she said, "Oh, you probably hear me, I'm very heavy-footed." I was just thinking, when she said that, I said, well, if you know you're heavy-footed, just step lighter then. If you know you're crashing around, shaking my room from upstairs, wouldn't you just walk a bit? But I don't know. Maybe, yeah. Well, she didn't. But I didn't really care, to be honest, at the time. That was the least of my concerns. So, couldn't make recordings during the day, but I did them in the evenings and videos. The lighting was really bad, so I struggled to make videos that were any good lighting wise. But I was doing the podcasts, so at this point I was doing the podcasts all along, but I really got into the podcasts 2007. That's when it really kicked off with the podcasts. And then I kind of focused on YouTube, and I was still doing the podcasts all the way through. But it's when I moved here in 2015 that I kind of stepped away from YouTube and focused entirely on the podcasts. So for the last 11 years, although I've done videos and done YouTube and stuff, been predominantly the podcasts for 11 years now. And I've gone through so many different recording techniques, as in having two microphones together, having like a headphone microphone, having all kinds of different microphones, and it's, to be fair, it's not really the microphone that's generally the issue anyway. It's what it's recording on. And I've had 2 recording studio things I've had. Both of them broke. I've got a few really nice microphones. I mean, my recent microphone, the red one that I was having, that broke as well. So, but I did keep dropping it, or it kept falling off the desk. So I'm now using, I don't know what one this is, to be honest with you. It's using a Rode microphone, USB Rode microphone that plugs into the iPad. And so this is a one. It took me a while to sort of get back to replacing the one I was using, because I had to kind of figure it all out. But so this is what I'm using now. But I've used lots of different microphones over the years. I've been using the iPad to record my audio podcasts since, blimey, probably 8 years, maybe longer. 9 years, 8 years. I've had this iPad since 2001, I think. So I must have had another one 3-4 years before that. So yeah, it's been quite a while. I can also plug this into the laptop, and I've also recorded stuff on my phone as well. Like made videos and then extracted the audio, or edited the video and saved the audio separate as well. So I've done it that way. But basically nowadays I record the audio on my iPad using the Rode microphone. Hope for the best that it's quiet outside, which it has kind of been. There's been a few little bits and bobs, but nothing major. It's probably the longest the dog's gone without barking, unless it was barking and I just don't hear it anymore, because I'm used to it. I hope not. And that's it really. That's kind of the history. It's a short history really of my recording, the different places that I've gone. And I went to a recording studio 2008 and made 3 recordings, three CDs, one for relaxation, sleep and pain relief, and had them all printed up and everything, and then ended up just sticking them on my website for free, so that didn't really come to anything. I don't even know what happened to them, to be honest. But I have lost a lot of recordings over the years. Laptops broken and stuff like that. I didn't have backups, and the podcast host closed or whatever. So yeah, or just deleted my stuff, which has happened, which is a little bit annoying. So that is the end of this recording. Bum ba dum bum, bum 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 bum. So thank you for listening, and remember to be kind to yourself, because you do deserve to be happy, and be gentle with yourself. You deserve to feel safe. Just as I said that, Vinny gets up knowing that it's time to go out. Take care. Lots of love. Bye. Vinny.